We've already seen how to set up equations. Now we want to talk in more detail about how to solve equations. There's a couple important things we need to remember. First, our goal is always to isolate the variable in the equation. We always want to get the variable on its own on one side of the equal sign with everything else on the other side in order to find the value of the variable. The way that we're going to do that is by using inverse operations. So addition and subtraction are inverse operations that undo each other. Multiplication and division are inverse operations that undo each other. And raising something to a power or taking the root are inverse operations of one another. So whenever we have addition, we'll undo it with subtraction. Whenever we have multiplication, we'll undo it with division, etc. And as we're doing that, as we're using those inverse operations, we always have to remember to keep the equation balanced, which means that whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do it to the other side of the equation. If we don't, we'll end up with the wrong answer. So let's look here at a couple examples. The first one is 3 times the quantity x minus 6 is equal to 18 plus x. So if this is the equation that we've set up, how do we go about solving it? Well, sometimes you can do steps in different orders, but in this case, the first thing that we want to do is multiply this 3 across the x minus 6. So 3 times x gives us 3x, and 3 times a negative 6 is a negative 18. So we end up with that on the left-hand side, and then we have that equal to 18 plus x. Now remember, we always want to get all of our variables on the same side of the equation. So the fact that we have 3x over here and x over here is a problem. We need to move them both to the same side. We could do that by subtracting 3x from both sides to move this 3x over to the right, or we could do that by subtracting x from both sides to move this x over to the left. There's not a right or wrong way to do that. Let's just go ahead and subtract x from both sides. So if we subtract x from both sides, we get 3x minus 18 minus x is equal to 18 plus x minus x. In other words, we just subtracted x from both sides. So over on the left now, we have 3x minus an x gives 2x, so 2x minus 18. And on the right-hand side, we've now accomplished what we set out to do, which was getting rid of this x on this side. Because we have plus x minus x, those two things cancel to 0, and we're just left with 18 on the right side. Now we want to add 18 to both sides because we're trying to get this x by itself. So if we say 2x minus 18 plus 18 on this side is equal to 18 and then plus 18 on this side, we're keeping the equation balanced by doing the same thing to both sides. What that'll do is cancel the negative 18 with the positive 18, leaving us with 2x is equal to 36. Now we can divide both sides of the equation by 2 to get the x by itself. So if we divide by 2 and divide by 2, we'll get our 2's to cancel on the left. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that'll go away. And we'll just be left with x is equal to 36 over 2 is 18. And that's how we solve for the value of the variable. Let's do one more example. This time we have 2r divided by 7 minus r is equal to negative 10. First, we can go ahead and multiply everything by 7 to get rid of this fraction. Because we're dividing by 7, the inverse operation of division is multiplication. We need to multiply by 7 to get rid of it. So what we want to do is multiply both sides of the equation by 7 in order to keep the equation balanced. When we distribute the 7 across the 2r over 7 minus r on the left, we get 7 times 2r over 7 minus 7 times r is equal to negative 10 times 7 is a negative 70. And then over on the left here, we get the 7 in the numerator to cancel with the 7 in the denominator, leaving us with simply 2r minus 7r is equal to negative 70. 2r minus 7r is a negative 5r equal to negative 70. And now we need to divide both sides by negative 5 because we have negative 5 multiplied by r, and the inverse operation of multiplication is division, so we have to divide both sides by negative 5. We get the negative 5 to cancel with the negative 5 in the numerator and denominator, leaving us simply with r is equal to negative 70 over negative 5. The negative signs cancel to become a positive sign, and 70 divided by 5 is 14. Keep in mind that once you find the final answer, you can always plug that value back into the original equation that you started with, just to double check that the answer you found satisfies the original equation.